What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Cool Guy Minecraft. In this one, I'm doing another reaction video. Now, because my last video took me so long to make, I've been really behind on the Dream SMP storyline. I know that some stuff has happened. The last that I remember was Technoblade and Tubbo going to get revenge on Sam, and they locked him in the prison. So this is a perfect spot to start, so I can get caught up on what's happened. Like usual, we're watching a KianKSG video. I think he does a really great job with recaps. They're nice, short, to the point. So please go subscribe to him. I'm leaving a link to his channel down in the description. Before we get into the video, I would really appreciate if you guys could scroll down and double check that you've clicked that subscribe button. A lot of people mean to subscribe, but they end up watching the video and forgetting, so it would mean a lot if you could double check. Let's get into it.
After Sam was locked up into the prison, Dream went to visit the prison every single day due to wanting to turn the whole thing into his own secret base. And Dream visiting Sam in prison ultimately ended in Sam's
That prison
death.
is like a fortress, so that could be a pretty good base.
Day one, which is actually the day that Technoblade, Tubbo, and Eric
okay, so this is where I left
Sam
off.
At his house and took him into the prison. Now, whilst he's inside the prison, he's trying to look around for an escape route or any blocks that he can break. But obviously, because he has mining fatigue, none of the blocks would break for a good probably hour. And as he paces around the cell, Dream
wouldn't
walks
obsidian
through the lava
take like
and sees Sam stuck in his own creation.
several hours?
Sam explains to Dream why he's actually in there and how Eric, Tubbo, and Technoblade had put him in. And this makes Dream laugh a lot. Obviously, because Sam had a big part in Quackity torturing Dream.
Yeah, Sam was kind of a scumbag with the whole torturing
makes Dream say
aspect
that this
of things.
is the best day of his life. Dream goes on to explain that he needs somewhere to stay during the nights that is heavily fortified because everybody on the server is looking for him to kill him. So the best place for him to sleep at nights and not worry about somebody breaking in and killing him would obviously be the prison. Sam begs Dream for food and to let him out of the cell, and says that he'll do anything in exchange to get out of here. But Dream doesn't care. Dream says that because Sam didn't stop the torture, he might as well have been the one who was doing it, and also goes on to say that he's going to find and torture Quackity and then lock him up in the cell with Sam.
That's a philosophical debate for sure.
And then
just because he didn't do the torture by allowing it to happen
visit him every single day and
having the means to stop it.
The next day, Sam is sat in his cell shouting out for Dream to come back because he's hungry and just bored in general. He convinces himself that Dream will not be coming back and that he's going to be all alone and slowly starve to death. So he opens up a book that reads "I'm not an idiot" repeated for around 3 pages that he had wrote. He tells himself that he'll find a way out of the cell before he starves to death, and then Dream ender-pearls inside the cell. Sam asks Dream again for tons of food because he's starving, and Dream responds asking if Sam himself thinks that he is a good person.
Is he giving him steak?
Whether Sam thinks the things that he's done were all good and reasonable.
He only got potatoes.
And Sam responds saying that he knows he is a good person, and that he does the things he does for the greater good. Dream tells Sam that doing something
the greater good argument is always a hard one.
What he had been doing, and that Dream believes that he's good because all
how
the
can
things that he's been
Sam
doing would have
claim
led to
to
a
be
better outcome for everybody? Dream then begins
judge
to list
in
off
what
other
is
things that Sam
good,
has done, such as cutting off Punk's
like
arm,
for the
locking
greater
Tommy
good,
inside of the
and
prison cell, taking Michael to
who
use
suffers
his leverage, letting Ghostbird
in order
see
to
Dream, and tons
do
more
something
things
for the greater
that
good. It's a
eventually
hard,
led to
it's a hard
pain
debate
for other people, and some of them even causing deaths. But the more that Dream hears about all the things that Sam has done and the reasons behind these things, he starts to like Sam more and more. And Dream explains that everybody on the server is pretty much a bad person because they all believe that what they're doing is for the greater good, and they've all done terrible things, but because there is a good reason behind it, everybody on the server the better person. Dream proceeds to ask Sam how it felt to be betrayed.
There's got to be some people on the server that haven't really done much.
Halo, and then Tubbo, who Sam had
trusted
at that point, locked him in the prison. Techno, Eric, and Tubbo
he had the stolen valor.
So much
Never mind.
They just joined together in order to take him down and stop what he was doing. And because Dream says that Bad Boy Halo had given the blueprints to Technoblade, Bad Boy Halo had betrayed Sam and broke all the trust that they would have had. Dream then goes on to tell Sam that he won't kill him as long as he self-reflects.
He's getting steak. Dream only got
he is
potatoes.
Not a good person, and goes on to leave the prison, leaving Sam in the cell all alone again. And waking up in day 3, Sam is pacing around the room calling out for Dream again. But today, he doesn't turn up. Dream just doesn't come back to the prison for a day, and that means that Sam cannot get get fed because he has no food or items on him. Sam tries to think of a plan to escape the cell and writes in a book
man's
a bunch
doing
of
quick
calculations
maths.
on how long it would
Quick
take
maths
to
and the
break some
quill.
of the obsidian.
Paper and
he goes
quill.
around discussing the things that Dream has said on a previous day, talking about how he is not the bad guy, and that according to Dream's logic, that would mean everybody is a bad guy, and that he is just a good person.
I feel like
put
these
in the worst
philosophical
situations where he has to make a decision
discussions
that
would have
may
been
make
better
him out to
live,
be a
because
really bad guy.
just doing a
He starts
quick
to write in the book saying that
overview
he's
of what
not the
they
bad
talked
guy,
about.
and that Dream is and Technoblade.
It's hard to
He also writes down that
get into
Eri is
it
also
much.
another
I wonder
bad
how long
guy,
these
and
streams
that he
were.
won't accept that he is being called this terrible person. He then goes on to repeat that he's not a bad guy and that Dream is until day 3 ends. On day 4, we see Sam
the bad
trying
guys
to
always
break
think
one
that
of
they're the good
obsidian
guys.
blocks.
Problem.
But during this, he is slowly starving to death, and if he doesn't eat food anytime soon, he may just die. Luckily enough though, Dream enderpearls into the cell again and gives him some steak and drops a cake for him that Dream says he made himself. Dream then goes on to explain why he didn't visit him the other day and saying that he was metaphorically on an island, whatever that means, and goes on to ask Sam whether Sam thinks that Dream is a good person, and Sam responds with saying, no. Dream then goes on to ask if he thinks that everyone else on the server is equally as bad, and Sam says no, they're not as equally as bad. And then Sam goes on to say that he thinks he himself is a good person, and then goes on to list a few things that Dream has done which has ultimately been bad. Things such as taking pets and items from people and then using it to manipulate the other person and control them. When Dream
That's
plays
pretty
Tommy
bad.
in Exile,
Blackmailing.
when Dream threatened to kill Tubbo so that Tommy would give up the discs, and so many more things that Dream has done which ultimately just affected pretty much everyone. And Dream admits
Yeah, I think
that
there's
he's
no
done some
argument
bad
that
things,
Dream's
but at the
actions on the
time, they
server
made sense,
are,
and they all had end
pretty
goals
scummy,
to
but
get,
Sam
and in his head, these
arguably
goals were
just as
important
bad.
and must have been achieved. They then go on to talk about why Sam let Quackity torture Dream and says that it was a means to an end so that they could get the revival book and it will be over. Sam says that he doesn't really know what Quackity wants with the revival book, but he believes that he would have gotten it as well if they did manage to get it out of Dream. But Dream doesn't think so and thinks that Quackity would have just kept it to himself because this book is very important and would be dangerous just to give it to other people. Dream goes on to explain how everyone in their own stories have a good guy and a bad guy. For example, in Wilbur's story right now, Dream is the good guy. Everyone is selfish and a good guy
Wilbur's
in
story.
their mind. So everything they do and all their actions
What is
they
Wilbur's
take
story?
are for themselves and they
Am I
believe
missing
they
something?
are the right actions. Dream also goes on to explain that when the explosion went off on top of the prison and Tommy was locked inside and died, this was all Rambo and Rambo had set off the TNT. And that if Sam wants to leave the prison now, he just has to accept that he is a bad guy and has to give Dream some of the keys to the prison so that he can access everything himself. Dream tells Sam that he should think over this and that he wants the prison to be his home, so no one except him
I think
will ever
a
be able
person
to
who
get
thinks that they're
inside. And Dream then goes
truly
on to leave the
virtuous
cell,
is kind of a
leading into day
psychopath
5,
anyway.
which is actually the day that Sam has decided he wants to leave the prison. Dream enderpearls inside of the main cell at the same time as yesterday, and Sam tells Dream that he wants to get outside of the prison. He's thought about Dream's proposal a lot and thinks that it'd be alright to go through with it. He says that the only person Dream would really lock up would be someone truly evil, and isn't really too worried about Dream having access to the prison and just locking up everybody on the server. Dream just wants to live and not be bothered by everybody, so having a place where it's super secure and nobody's going to be looking for him in there is perfect. Dream tells Sam that he would not be allowed
Reasonable
inside
logic.
the prison once he's handed over all the keys and everything, and Sam asks what he should tell everybody about the prison. Dream says that he should just tell everybody that it's out of commission and it's not in use anymore, and if somebody needs to be locked up, then just to talk to Dream and they'll sort it out. Dream says it will be there just for the future, and Sam agrees with this reasoning, so it's time to get Sam out. Dream gives Sam fire resistance and an ender pearl, and they go through the lava until Sam gets
it's
to the
funny
other
how
side
easy
and
it is
resets his
to get
spawn. Sam
someone
leads
out.
Dream to where all the keys are kept.
I guess
and gives him
Technoblade
a
did
book
all
called
the work,
Keycard
like
Reset. Once you use this book, this will
with the
reset
tunnel
all of
and
the
everything.
existing key cards so that the only one that works will be the one that Dream has. So Sam makes another Warden key card and gives it to Dream so that he can test it out on the vault doors. And once they mess around with a few of the doors so that Dream can get an understanding on how everything works, Dream tells Sam to give him a sort of tour of the prison so that he knows where everything is and what the
Didn't
best
Dream
place
help
would
build
be
the
to live
prison?
in. So they go through the guard access, the equipment station, and throughout all the hidden halls and show shows Dream the courtyard that had been
that's
sealed
nice.
off for a good amount of time. Now, due to some of the explosions that Technoblade had done while they were escaping and other wear and tear on the prison, some of the doors aren't properly
Same place as
working,
Dream's
meaning
future
that one
lore
of them
stream.
will have to
Okay.
fix it over time.
I saw that
And
little
finally,
note at
they
the bottom
reach
right.
the main portal to get out of the prison. Dream asks Sam if there's anything else that he needs to know, and Sam says that's about it. But before Sam leaves the prison and escapes forever, Dream stops him and says there is a bit of a problem. Dream talks about how Sam assisted the torture and how he can't just let him walk out after everything, and that Sam will be a living example of why not to mess with Dream. So Dream takes out his pickaxe and kills Sam, losing one of his cannon lives. Now make
Yeah,
sure to check out
I mean,
the video
kinda
that's on screen
deserved.
right now. It talks about the previous lore stream about why all this is happening.
Honestly, kind of deserved. Sam is, at least in his character on the Dream SMP, kind of a scumbag. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching that. I'm interested to see where this goes next. I don't know if I've missed more. If you guys know of any lore that I've missed, please let me know and I can look into it and maybe back to that as well. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.